Welcome back to episode 5 of The Human Condition, and welcome to the deep dive.
Great to be here. Today, we're looking at something a bit different.
Yeah, a single source this time. It's a narrative piece just called The Bench Outside the Clinic.
Right. And our aim, really, is to see what this one kind of static viewpoint, this bench, can tell us.
Tell us about what, though? Like the unseen stuff.
Exactly. Those human experiences, the quiet connections or maybe disconnections that happen in plain sight but often go unnoticed, all from watching this one spot.
Okay, so let's get into it. The source starts with the bench itself, sets the scene.
Yeah, and it's deliberately unremarkable, isn't it? Just metal slats.
Green paint, chipped.
Chipped paint, yeah.
Yeah.
And even a wobbly leg, just your
Yeah.
basic, slightly worn down public bench outside a small clinic. Nothing special.
But then there's the narrator's ritual. That's where it gets interesting.
Mm-hmm. Every Wednesday morning, sits there.
For about half an hour, right? With coffee.
Yeah, but the key thing is, they're not going into the clinic. They're just observing from the bench.
So like a fly on the wall almost.
Sort of, yeah. And they start noticing things. People coming, people going.
The source gives some specific examples, doesn't it?
It does. Little glimpses, like a man helping his wife, and her feet are dragging heavy.
Yeah, I remember that. And a teenager just sort of crumpled up, crying into her phone.
Right. Silently. And a delivery driver taking a moment.
Just slumped over, head in his hands. Wow.
Yeah. Brief moments, and over time you start seeing familiar faces.
Like the nurse, always looking rushed.
Uh-huh. And that older woman who apparently always seemed angry when she left.
Okay. And wasn't there a kid?
Yes. That detail stood out. A kid who'd show up, hang around near the door.
But never go in.
Never went in, just stood there, then left. Every time.
Huh. So what's the takeaway from all these little observations?
Well, the narrator says it wasn't about knowing their actual stories, the specifics of their pain or worry.
Right, you couldn't know that.
But it was more about sensing something familiar in
Oh.
how they carry themselves.
Familiar?
Like a shared weight. This invisible burden that everyone was kind of quietly trying to manage, trying to hold together in this public space.
That really makes you pause, thinking about those everyday places we just walk through.
Definitely. The bench is just this silent witness.
Okay, but then things change. There's an incident,
Yeah, the rain. A sudden downpour.
and everyone scatters, right? Runs for cover.
Instantly. Into the clinic, under awnings, anywhere dry. Typical reaction.
But not the narrator.
No, the narrator just stays.
Yeah.
Sits there on the bench, getting absolutely soaked.
Why? Did it say why?
It describes wondering if anyone else might stay too. Maybe just share that moment, pretend they had nowhere else they needed to be.
They'd sit in the rain together.
Yeah, but no one did.
Everyone else took shelter.
Everyone. So the narrator sat alone until their coffee was cold, and then, well, they left. And didn't come back to the bench for a while after that.
So the ritual stopped. Any reflection on why?
The source muses on it. Maybe just tired of waiting. Waiting to be noticed, perhaps. That solitary feeling.
Or maybe something else.
Yeah, maybe a shift in understanding. Realizing that people didn't necessarily come to that bench to be seen. But maybe they came because, well, maybe they didn't know where else to go. Even for just 5 minutes.
Like a temporary pause button. A quiet spot.
Exactly. A little refuge, even if no one else notices you're there. It highlights that private vulnerability that can happen right out in the open.
Then there's the final image. That's quite powerful.
It is. Later on, walking past, the narrator sees something new on the bench.
Something scratched into it.
Yeah, into the backrest.
Yeah.
Just the words, "You are not alone."
Wow.
And the point isn't whether it's objectively true or if it helped anyone else who saw it.
It's more about the person who wrote it.
Precisely. That someone sitting right there on that same wobbly, chipped bench felt the need to write that, needed to believe it right in that moment, in that place.
So bringing it all together, what's the core message from this source, this deep dive?
I think it's about recognizing these quiet, shared spaces where people are carrying things unseen, where vulnerability just kind of surfaces for a moment.
And maybe the simple act of just being present in those spaces, even if you're unnoticed, has its own quiet significance.
Yeah, I think so. It certainly makes you look differently at the people around you in public places.
The bus stop, the park bench, waiting in line. You see faces, but you have no idea what's going on behind them.
None at all. Just glimpses, like the narrator had.
Which leads us to that final thought for you, the listener, as you go about your day.
Yeah, think about it. What untold stories are unfolding quietly in the public spaces you pass through every day,
Hmm.
just outside your focus? What might you be missing?